You ever notice how peace and quiet only last until somebody with a clipboard and a Lexus decides they want to improve your life? That's how it started for me. 6.5 acres of battered land. I'd poured my whole soul into finally turning an old scar into something that actually lived and breathed on its own. No committees, no neighbors, no rules, just me, the woods, and a pond that for a little while made me think I'd outsmarted the whole system. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec so you can see how the whole mess unfolded. 15 years in environmental quality work will teach you a few things about how bureaucracy twists good intentions into nightmares. After wrangling with state agencies, county boards, hysterical homeowners, and more red tape than you'd find in a Christmas warehouse, I bought this overgrown plot just past the zoning lines outside the city. I wanted out of the noise, out of the rules, out of HOA territory. Just me, the trees, and a plan to do something right for once. The land itself was a wreck brittle meadow, scraggly second-growth woods, a ditch carving through it like an old wound. But to me, it was a blank slate, and buddy, I had plans. Hand-dug a basin laid in natural stone terraces, tracked every soil shift and groundwater trickle, mapped it all out like a mad scientist. Checked the pH, the nutrient cycles, ran emergency simulations. I wasn't about to half-ass a thing that could bite me later. I built the spillway so overflow would follow the ravine down, nothing wasted, everything living, and man, it worked. Birds rolled in like I'd thrown a block party for sparrows and tree frogs. Caught a fox at sunrise sipping from the pond one morning while I drank my coffee. You know, those rare mornings when you think maybe, just maybe, life is finally going your way. For 5 sweet months, the only folks I saw were dog walkers out by the creek or joggers on the gravel road. Then one Monday, the sound of heavy equipment broke my little Eden. Backhoes, digging crews, barking orders a suburb was coming. Birch Meadow Preserve, they called it. A place where lawns are surgically edged and fences are always white. In 2 months, it went from raw woods to a marketing sign bragging about nature's elegance and modern comfort. I should have known then my days were numbered. Enter Karen Cheatham, silver Lexus, pastel sweater, that ice-cold smile of someone who thinks they own the world. She drove up like she was touring her personal kingdom. Just doing my rounds with the HOA, she chirps, squinting at my pond like it's a UFO crash site. That's new, isn't it? Might be prudent to check with the community committee. I just stared and told her flat out, "There's no committee here, lady. This land isn't yours." She tried to play nice, talking about impact radius and runoff not respecting lot lines. I fired back about invasive species and left it at that, but I could see in her eyes the war had started. 3 days later, a cream envelope arrived, Compliance Advisory Committee from the HOA, asking me to submit landscaping modifications for review. I laughed out loud, filed that under G for garbage. Didn't take long for the foot traffic to start curious neighbors poking around kids calling my place Swamp Shrek Chic on TikTok. Whatever. But Karen wasn't finished. She fired up the HOA's Facebook page with posts about unregulated water features and ecological impact pending review. Blurry photos, wild comments, everything from looks nice to that can't be legal. Some claimed my pond was a mosquito factory, others said it was a biohazard. Karen responded to everything pasting in municipal codes that didn't even apply to this part of the county. That's when I realized she wasn't just nosy, she was dangerous. Still, I let it go. I had blueprints, permits, even environmental clearance letters. I figured let her rant, I wasn't going to let a pond become a battlefield. But peace has a way of slipping away, you know. One morning, a state vehicle pulled up. Out steps a DEQ inspector official, face clipboard, the works. Received a complaint regarding unpermitted hydrological modifications, he says. Hands me a thick envelope, notice of violation, $49.23 fine, unauthorized alteration, potential flood risk, all the legal mumbo-jumbo. I nearly choked. I'd filed everything with the county, followed every rule, and that fine wasn't random, it was a message. I asked who filed the complaint. Birch Meadow Preserve HOA. Figures. Their expert hydrologist, Dr. K. Jordan, turned out to be Karen's own son-in-law. Not a scientist at all, but a regional sales guy for medical supplies. The so-called expert report was copy-pasted nonsense, but it didn't matter. The fine was real and the gossip machine fired up in town. You hear about that guy with the toxic pond? You sure your swamp's safe for kids? Rumors ran wild. My lawyer, Sarah, was sharp as a whip. She drafted counter-complaints, called the licensing board on the fake doctor, archived every post and photo. The HOA amped up their attack, eco-hazard, illegal dam, flood risk, Karen playing politics in every comment thread. I started getting anonymous letters. Wait until the next rain. Karen herself trespassed on my land, snapping photos, threatening legal action. I documented everything, mailed complaints, filed for harassment. The fine stayed due in 30 days and my sanctuary turned into a war zone. Then came the rain. Arkansas doesn't mess around. It poured for hours, thunder shaking the house. But my system held. The overflow worked perfectly. Not a drop spilled where it shouldn't. Yet by sunrise, the HOA Facebook group was blaming me for flooding their brand new homes. Pictures everywhere, mud up to the doorsteps, water pooling, wild accusations flying. I clenched my jaw and fired up my drone. Yeah, I'd set one up, just in case a little paranoia goes a long way. Sure enough, the footage caught 2 men at midnight digging by the spillway, trenching toward the HOA lots. Sabotage. I exported the evidence, sent it to Sarah, who sent it straight to the Water Commission. By noon, a state inspector was on site taking samples and shaking his head. Textbook interference, he said. They'd rerouted the runoff on purpose. I filed a police complaint, and Sarah filed a motion to suspend the fine. Karen went ballistic online, calling me an eco-terrorist, accusing me of building a death trap for children. This time I just posted the drone footage and let the facts simmer. But that wasn't all. Next thing I know, there's a gray sedan lurking by the property line, engine running, never getting out. Turns out Karen had hired a private investigator, caught red-handed. Sarah had the restraining order filed and granted in days. Still, the smear campaign ramped up town gossip, online rumors, even fake criminal allegations. Enough was enough. So I hosted a public pond tour, brought in a real restoration ecologist, local birdwatchers, and a TV crew. 50 people came. Karen drove by, glared, but didn't stop. That night, someone egged my mailbox and left a fake eviction notice meant to scare me off. I doubled down. We dug deeper, traced the HOA's shell companies, padded invoices, and fake contractors, all the way back to Karen's family. Sarah filed complaints for fraud, misuse of HOA funds, forgery, you name it. Then came the twist. A board member, Jeremy, reached out, shaking hoodie up like a spy movie. He handed over a flash drive packed with real emails, proof Karen was funneling HOA money into fake beautification initiatives and media consultants, using bots to smear my name and push for a land grab. It all came out at the court hearing. Sarah laid out the drone footage. The sabotage, the fake expert even lined up 2 reports side by side, typos and all. Karen's crew tried to defend themselves with cartoon diagrams and wild monologues about psychosocial distress. The judge just stared. Mr. Jordan, are you a licensed hydrologist? I work in medical sales. Thank you, that's all. The hearing went our way. The fine suspended the HOA's credibility in tatters, but the best was yet to come. Turns out the real motive was a hidden expansion plan, Phase 3 of the suburb, which needed my easement to build. Karen was willing to ruin me to get it. We had it all on tape, thanks to Jeremy. Sarah filed it, and the AG's office got involved. Residents rebelled, demanded audits, called for new elections. Within days, real expense reports leaked, tens of thousands funneled to Karen's family, fake consultants, PR stunts. Fraud, plain and simple. State charges started stacking up. The civil trial was fast-tracked. In court, we laid out the entire web, from sabotage to fake grants, stolen intellectual property, the works. The jury didn't need long. Guilty on every count. Karen was hit with $182,000 in damages, assets frozen, HOA, under state control. My name cleared, the violation erased. She resigned on Facebook with comments disabled and vanished. For sale by owner, the last remnant of her reign. I stood by the pond that night, frogs singing, overflow humming, and I finally breathed easy. Didn't bend, didn't sell, didn't let them break what I'd built. That next month, I hosted a workshop, welcomed neighbors, even a few of Karen's old supporters. Taught them about real land stewardship, how life returns if you fight for it. Little girl asked, "Why don't more neighborhoods have ponds like this?" I smiled. They could if more people stood up to bullies and fought for what's right. On my gate now, there's a new sign carved in walnut. This is not an illegal pond. What's illegal is trying to destroy it, just to make room for a parking lot. So what do you think? Should we keep letting HOAs bully honest folks off their own land? Or is it time to start fighting back? Drop your thoughts below, share your own story, and if you believe justice still matters in this world, hit subscribe and tell me what you'd do if they came after your little patch of peace.